Hey guys, what's up? It's me, Joshua Suliruka here, your host of the Impact Podcast Show. And I want to say two things. I want to share to you two things before we get into this episode. The first one is I would like to say thank you. I want to say thank you to those out there who are listening to this podcast episode through, either through Spotify or Apple Podcasts. But I also want to say thank you to those out there who are watching this podcast through our YouTube channel. And so, guys, if you're watching this on our YouTube channel, make sure that you like this video. If you have received any value or if you've enjoyed this podcast episode. And if you guys got any thoughts or comments, please comment down below for those out there that are watching this through our YouTube channel. But I want to say, make sure that you guys subscribe to our YouTube channel and click on that bell button for the latest updates on our next video. So that's the first thing I wanted to share. But the second thing I'd love to share, and I love sharing this, is I'd like to state our mission. And our mission is simple, right? Our mission is to focus on impacting the one. And so if you are being impacted or if you are impacted by this podcast episode, I highly encourage you all to share this to someone else that can benefit from this episode, because remember, it only takes one person to change someone's life, and that could possibly be you, and that would be cool. But hey guys, we're here getting into this podcast episode. Now I'm just going to be truly transparent to everyone out there. Our first take ended up getting cut down, and so this is actually our second take of this episode. But I want to get into, talking a bit about, who our next special guest on the Impact Podcast Show is. And so before I even share a bit about, before I allow her to share a bit about who she is and what she does, I want to just share a bit about why. All right, why I got her on here. And she already knows why, but I'm just going to share it again because it's so good. You got to say it twice. The reason why I wanted to get, our special guest on the Impact Podcast Show is because I believe that she has a story. I believe that she has a story. I believe that there's a lot of hidden gems that's inside of her that really need to be exposed for the right reasons, right? And I wanted to, jump on here. I know that there are some, I guess, flaws that she experiences, in her own kind of world, or for her as an individual. And I can't wait for you guys to hear more about her and about what she does, because I believe that, she's one of the many empowering, women out there that are, going hard, especially in the business journey. And you guys will know more about her. But hey, most importantly, guys, the one thing I really want to tell you before I get it on here is that I do believe that there's a lot of hidden gems, a lot of value that is inside of her that needs to be let out. And so, guys, I'd love you all to please welcome to the Impact Podcast Show my sis, Elizabeth, aka the founder and CEO of Flawnit. Welcome, sis. Welcome to the Impact Podcast Show again.
Thanks, bro. Thanks for having me, man. I feel honored that I'm said this place. All good, man. I just want to say, I just want to say again, man, huge, thank you so much for, asking me to come on. I wasn't expecting it at all. I don't really like talking about myself, but hopefully that can help someone out there, which is, I agreed to come on here. So yeah, I'm excited and I'm a bit nervous, but this is all good. This is going to be all good. So yeah.
Yeah, 100%. And I do want to also say too, sis, thank you so much for taking out your time. For those out there that are tuning in, you guys will know more as to, who Elizabeth is, and I guess why why I wanted to get her on here too. So yeah, thank you once again, sis, for taking out your time. But I guess, just to get straight into this podcast episode, I wanna get you to kind of share a bit about who you are, just because we do have people on here that are from your following, that are either following you, or you got friends, family that might be jumping on here. But we also do have the Impact community that do listen to this podcast episode too. And so is there any chance that you could possibly just share a bit about who you are?
Yeah, sure. So I guess I'll do a little bit of a timeline as to about myself. So I was born in New Zealand and then moved over here when I was 4 years old. So 95 when we moved over here, and been here ever since. So well, I moved over here with my cousins and my aunties and uncles and that, all from my dad's side. So it wasn't a lonely process having to move over from one country to another, for a better life, so we moved over here, and then we lived in Mount Jewett for a little bit. So in one house with all my cousins and aunties and uncles, and then after a while we moved over to, my parents and my siblings and I, we moved over to Cabramatta, and we stayed there for a bit, and then we pretty much grew up in Claymore. So that's where we originally stayed for a long period of time, and that's where all the childhood memories and that are all from there. So yeah, that's pretty much just a little bit about myself and how I grew up, I guess. But
yeah. Thank you, sis. Thank you so much for sharing, a bit about who you are and your upbringing, because, if anything, your upbringing is pretty much the foundation that you will be carrying, through your youth stage, but also through your adulthood stage. So, yeah, no, I truly understand you, sis, when it comes to memories, like where all the memories are made. And we're going to get more into that, later on to this podcast. But is there any chance that you can just share a bit about, to those out there, about what you do? Just to add on to that?
Yeah, so, sure. So, recently my husband and I have, we've built up our own online business. So, called Flawnit. And just a little background behind what Flawnit means. So, my husband and I were thinking of, what good name would suit us and also what we're trying to put out there, I guess. And, as we were trying to find something that was, everyone relates to, and we know that everyone has flaws, we all have flaws in one way or another. So we want, and that's also, when you hear the word flaw, it's, people view it as something negative. So instead of trying to have that word next to something negative or something that's shaming, we wanted to put it out there as, flaunt your flaws, don't be ashamed of, we all have flaws, so don't be ashamed of flaunting your flaws. So we wanted to make that the center of our business. So that's what it is, Flawnit. That's pretty much it. And so what we have in our, I guess in our range is pretty much just a mixture of what my husband and I like and we love. So, and over time we've slowly transitioned into putting it, I guess, making products that we know that we love, and also what we know that the customers and consumers love as well. So yeah, over time we know that a lot of people love, and we also love to make as well. So we do handmade candles and melts, and so that's pretty much what we have in our store. And I like to speak on candles and melts a lot because we make it ourselves, and I spend a lot of time and effort into making them. So yeah, a lot of effort goes into it. So I do love to speak on it a lot, as you would see on my social media accounts. And also the fragrances. So we have Victoria's Secret, we're third-party sellers as well to Victoria's Secret, their creams and their perfumes and things like that. And then we have other things as well that we have in there that it's just a little bit of my husband and I, things that we really like and we have in our house. And we know that people out there also would, benefit from that as well. So that's just a little bit about us and the Flawnit online store. Yeah,
that's amazing. And it's crazy though, because I've looked at the things that I've actually looked at. I haven't shopped at it yet, and that's what we're going to talk about. After this podcast show, after we get this podcast done, because I do need to get some candles and I think the cool thing about what you do is that it's all it's natural, right? It's natural, it's real, it's authentic, and I think that's the reason why I wanted to also get you on here, is because I want to know the why behind the what. It's like, why does Elizabeth and hubby, why do they create their candles as opposed to getting secondhand ones, ones that have already been created? But we will get into that later on to this podcast, because what I want to do right now is I just want to focus on you, sis. For the next couple of minutes, I just want to focus on you, know a bit more about about who you are, and to really understand for other people that where's the story? Where's the story within you, because I know for you, and I know that this is something that you can vouch for, is that Elizabeth isn't the type to be in the camera, whereas Josh is. Right, Josh is all good on being in the camera. Like, I can talk to a camera, I can talk in front of many people, but I know for Elizabeth, that's something that she finds very hard. And how do I know this? Is because it was one thing that she mentioned. It was one thing that she mentioned on our. I think it was a live session where you had mentioned that. Yeah, like, how do you overcome? Talk. Is that something that you struggle with?
Oh, sorry. Can you just repeat that, bro?
Yep. Yeah. That's all right. I was just saying, like, I don't know if you can recall, but I remember there was a live monster call that I was doing, and you had mentioned something about speaking or some sort of that. Could you kind of share a bit about that?
Yeah, for sure, man. Like, so yeah, I do consider myself a more shy and reserved person. Yeah, I'm not one to, like, I guess, speak at the front of people. To have a one-on-one conversation, I'm all good with that. I can speak one-on-one with someone, but then to speak in a group, everybody get nervous and things like that. So yeah, that's still something that I'm struggling with. But I guess with having an online business, it's helped me, even speaking on camera, when I first started. Oh mate, you should have seen the first live I did. Oh, I full did the live. Yeah, I was already nervous, and then I seen one person pop up. I was like, yeah, end the live. So that's how nervous. That's like how nervous I was. Like, oh yeah, I did a good job. But yeah, I think having an online business has helped, in I guess stepping out of my comfort zone and things like that. But yeah, I am usually a shy and reserved person. Yeah.
Yeah, and like I kind of like understood that, especially when you were posting like the 5 a.m. club, like, and you'll tag me in. I was just like, some people would do selfies, but I'm like, oh, but Elizabeth is different. She just, shows it out. I'm not like judging anything. It was just more like, I wonder why. And then, like, when you mentioned it in one of the lives, I was like, oh yes, it makes sense. It makes sense. And it's okay. Like, like, I think some people in the world, like, they think that you got to be a specific way, or you have to, be energized all the time, or you have to be, extroverted and be able to talk confidently in camera. Like, that's not necessarily the case. Like, everyone's different, and so we should, right? So we should be different. And so, I guess, as we continue along into this podcast episode, I do want to know more about you as a person, and I do want to understand and get to know more about you and your story. And so one of the quotes that I love saying is, before the glory there is a story, right? Before the glory there is always a story behind success. And I do believe that you're in your own realm of success right now, because everyone sees success differently. But I would say, you running a business and it being sustained, I do believe that is success. And there's always room to grow, and there's always room to become better. But I guess, as we start to jump along the journey to know more about you, I guess, is there any chance that you can share a bit about your upbringing, just to start us off?
Upbringing, yeah. So as I mentioned in the beginning, pretty much, and things like that. So I guess growing up, I grew up, I would say I grew up in Claymore. I went to the primary school there, and I had a great, I think I had a great childhood growing up. Like, we would be out with my siblings. We'd be out in the neighborhood, hang out with the kids, and then we'd be back at home by the, when the street lights come on. That's when you have to be back in the house, right? Yeah, you don't need a time for that. So yeah, that's pretty much it. That was it, like, and then on the weekends we would go to our meetings, and then we would have kongai. So it would be at my grandma's house, or whichever auntie and uncle would have, the kongai at their house, or family gathering at their house. And then, we'd be there and I'd be hanging out with my cousins, So, and this would be like every week. So, that was pretty much our routine that we did pretty much every week. So, that's how it was growing up. And I guess I miss those times, because you don't really, you don't really think about anything. There's no responsibility. You get up and you're like, okay, so who am I going to hang out with today? Where are we going to go today? And things like that. But it's a little bit about myself growing up.
Yeah. And I think too, just to add on to what you're saying, it's a thought that I always have. It's like, you don't realize how precious or valuable something is until it's gone. Right? It's like, once it's gone, it's like, damn, like I actually realize. And sometimes it's not possession. It may mean just memories, It's like, why do we continue to long into the memories or into, past experiences that we had? And it's because it was valuable, and we didn't even realize it was valuable until it was gone. And so that's actually such a nice reminder, for us, and not just us, but also for those out there that are watching or listening or tuning into this podcast, that, the very thing, like, I think it's like being grateful, like just being grateful for the, like, what you have now, because there is going to be no way that you're going to come back in time and be able to experience it. And so for you growing up with your family, how important for you was family gathering? Because you did mention that there were, like, you're going to family gatherings each and every week. Like, how important was it for you, when it comes to the family gatherings when you're growing up?
Oh yeah, it was it was a routine, if I guess if this is, I put it like this, like, if I don't see my cousins in that, like, within 2 weeks, because I missed that weekend of a gathering, then my grandma would call my dad and be like, oh, are you guys okay? Is something up? Like, things like that. So, we were very close growing up. So yeah, that was I think that was important as well, and So even, like, I think it's just recently, that I've slowly, gone on my own path, now being married and things like that. And, now I'm focusing more on my, my own family and things like that. But like, all the way up until, I'm 27, 26 years old. I've been having family gatherings every week. So very important.
Yeah, I do believe that family is important. And I do believe that having family gatherings is an important aspect to your life, because, obviously as you get older, you start to make your own decisions, right? You start to make your own, I guess you start to direct yourself in your own path. And that's where the tension comes, like, that's where the tension starts to come into play, where you start to make decisions that doesn't really align with, what the family wants. And so, I did overheard that, like, or I did hear that you mentioned about hubby. Do you want to kind of talk a bit about hubby?
Yeah. So, my husband and I, so we pretty much grew up knowing each other's families and that. So I'm pretty sure Eliza's in the 5 a.m. club. So that's my sister-in-law.
Yo.
The older brother, that's my husband. So but we grew up knowing each other from attending the same congregation meeting. We grew up in our family friends. And then I think over time, and then that's how me and my husband met. And he asked me out, and then here we are. Here we are. We're married, man.
Yeah. And so how long have you guys been married for?
About, I think, 2 years now.
Nice.
Yeah.
So you've made it through the honeymoon stage.
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, I was speaking, like, we were talking on our other business talk page. So I had my husband come on, and so my sister was asking us, we were going through that honeymoon stage, and then we also brought a business into it as well. So, she was like, "Oh, how did you deal with that?" And we were like, "Oh, it helped us. It helped strengthen our marriage and saved our marriage and things like that." So yeah, it's a good thing. Yeah.
Yeah, and even like you mentioning that, like mixing the two, it can be like, I look at it and it's like, yeah, it can be difficult, but like you're capable. Like you are capable. It's like there are other businesses out there, like businesses, entrepreneurs that do it together and they're still okay. It's just like in my mind, it's like it's just how you manage it. Like, because there is going to be tension. Like, there's going to be moments where you have to put your professional cap on, like professionalism, as in like your business to business partners, and then there's moments where you got to take it off and be like, husband and wife. And so, how was that for you? How do you kind of work around that? Being able to run a business with your partner, or like your hubby, and also have him as your partner too, as in your business partner. How do you kind of work around that?
Yeah. So pretty much what we've we've learned to do is to designate different roles for each other, so to speak. So I know what I have to do in our business, and he knows what he has to do. So we kind of we don't cross over, and then obviously when that happens, then there's issues. We have the the intense conversation meetings that we do. But yeah, that's pretty much how I think that's worked for us. Like when things arise, and then and we are also like how do you say it, like we are flexible as well, so like if we're not feeling well, then my husband can come and take over if so yeah, that flexibility, but then also knowing what person plays in which role they have in the business, and I think that really does help. It does help.
Yeah. And to think of it too, like to add on to what you're saying, like it sounds to me, because even that, like for me too, like running my own, being a freedom coach, it's like like you're pretty much married to your business. Like that's literally how it is. And so it's like you have two different relationships. You have your relationship with your physical partner, like human, but then you have a relationship with your business, because like you're literally married. It's like you're pretty much clinged onto it. So or even as some people say that it's their baby, as in like it's their it's their first kind of child, is their business. And so is that something that you can I guess vouch on, or is that something that you kind of feel in yourself too when it comes to running a business?
Yeah, 100%. Like I think like for us, so like when we're running our business, and then like trying to divide that time with family or with my husband, and then trying to divide that time with business, it is a struggle sometimes. And I guess it's finding that balance, but I think also what helps us in a marriage, is that we both own the company. So when we speak on things, in regards to our business, that's also couple time as well. So it's kind of I think it's a good thing. That's what I think. Owning a business with my husband, that's what I meant about it's made our marriage stronger. Because like, so for example, if there's tension in my marriage, and then there's a business venture or something to do with business that we have to figure out and deal with, or if there's a situation that we have to deal with, my husband and I have to come together and we have to figure it out. Otherwise, that's, the business is going to suffer from it. So, that's when we have to put our issues aside and then come together. And then at the end of the day, we forget about what we argued about, or what we, disagreed on, and then it just makes things, better, I guess. That's what helps us.
Yeah, I get you. I get it. I get it. No, I get it. I get it. Like it's like the way I see it. The way I see it, it's like just like a relationship in itself, and just like marriage itself, you need a bit of pressure. Like you need a bit of applied pressure onto your marriage, or applied pressure onto your business to actually see the real root behind why you do what you do. And it's amazing to see how you guys can still handle yourself. But you guys are making the decision to come together, in agreement, and say, hey, we need to sort out, this little tension that we're having. And the good thing is that you guys are actually bringing it up into the light, because you understand and you know that if you don't do it, then your business is going to be just as affected as your relationship or your marriage.
Yeah.
It's like it goes hand in hand. Is that something that you can, agree with?
Yeah. That's true. Yeah, I agree with it.
Yeah. Just because, like, when you were sharing that, like that thought, I was like sharing what you guys do. I'm like, nah, I get it, because if you don't bring it up, like, it's gonna cause a lot of havoc, and like, customers are gonna be unhappy, and then even like business partners, if you're doing like third party, if you're, because you mentioned that you're doing third party, Victoria's Secrets, it's like they're gonna be upset too, and then it's just like everything's all gonna be stuck in a rut, and so I guess. Just to kind of lead on to that, because that is something that can happen. That can for me, it's like, it can take something real small, right? It can be something real little, and for us PIs or Pacific Islanders, right? It's like, man, sometimes you just need something like this small, right? And it will literally cause like a whole fire, or like it will just like cause a lot of havoc. But the question I want to ask you, and this actually leads to you, and you being the person that you are, has there been like any kind of setback, that you've had? Now, this can be like a business, like it can be business focus. It can even be personal. It's up to you as to how you'd want to answer it. But has there been kind of like any setback, or do you have a bigger setback that you can possibly share to those out there? Because I feel like people would love to hear, a setback that you've gone through.
Yep. Okay. So I guess I'll speak in terms of my business. So there was a setback in our business. So when we first started, it was that the conversations that we had is, what are we gonna have in our business, and so we wanted a variety of things, and there were some, like, there was a certain product that we brought bulk of and we were certain, because we enjoyed it so much, and we used it, and then we just thought, okay, so this is what everyone else is gonna like as well, because we like it. And then it turns out it wasn't like that. It was the products that we actually thought no one would like that they did like, and the products that we like they did not like. So that was I guess that's a business setback that we had to deal with. Had to figure out, okay, so now we have to go back to the drawing board. We have all this lost product that we have here in our storage that no one is going to purchase from us. So I guess in a business term, that was kind of a loss for us. But that's something that we had to deal with, and now we're slowly learning to I guess the swing of things, I guess, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it does. And I'm so grateful that you shared that, because, it's actually so true. Like, some of the things that you believe that everyone will like is usually the thing that people don't like. Because why? Why? Because we're all different. Like, if you think about it, everyone's unique. So everyone's going to like different things. It's like, maybe one thing that you like, not necessarily everyone's going to like too. And that's okay. Like, that's totally fine.
And I want to add on, that was a product that we did research on, and it was like one of the top selling products as well, but it didn't sell well in our business. So that just added on a bit, but yeah.
True. I'm laughing because I've had a similar setback too. It's like, I thought like, based on my service, because for me being a freedom coach, I'm more service based, but I know for you, you're more product based, putting out your product. Whereas for me, I'm putting out services. And it was just like myself too. It's like I would put out things like, hey, like if I was you, no, sorry, if I was me in you, like that's how I was thinking.
What?
Like if I was my body in your body, then the way I would see it is like you would like this. When realistically, it's like not necessarily. And so what was the lesson for you? Like, what was the lesson for you from that moment? Because that was like one of the biggest setbacks you had as a business. And because you did have, stock, like you had other stock out there in at your place that was just sitting there. So what was your lesson from that?
I guess it taught us to well, first off, don't go and purchase a whole heap of product at once. Test the waters out. So that's what we did. So going back to candle making. So initially, I wanted to be a third-party seller for our candles. And I was adamant, hand making candles was not I was not thinking about it. I had loved candles a lot, but I just didn't think I was going to go that route. Yeah, and then over time, I did my research and I got the products that I needed in order to help me learn how to make those products and things like that. Yeah, and then so that was the product I wanted to initially do as a third party, but now I make it handmade. And so what I've learned is test the waters out, and I enjoyed making handmade candles. So first of all, I enjoyed making that product, and then I put it out there to the audience or to the potential customers to see whether they would react to it or not. And they did. They actually enjoyed it just as much as I did. And so that's what we've been going. That's the route we've been going now. And in terms of the fragrance, we know that a lot of our customers, they I guess they do they like the fragrance route that we've gone to. That's kind of the route that we've gone to. So yeah, that's pretty much how we've learned is learn to test the waters a little bit, and then slowly, and then you'll get your niche if you just give it time and just don't jump into it full throttle, I guess. That makes sense. But yeah.
Nah, I totally, sis. Like, this is so good that I got you on here, because what you're saying, right, is true, right? She's actually speaking facts here, because, it was like me, and this is something that I got from Gary Vee. Gary Vee would mention that, like, if you're going to do anything, especially when it comes to content creating, just document. Like, just get into the habit of documenting. Like, he ended up saying that, documenting is far more greater than creating. And I was like, yes, at the time I didn't understand, but as I started to go through it, I was like, no, at the end of the day, people want to know your journey. People want to know how you got there. And so that they can see, the bumps and bruises, they can see the fallbacks, they can see, the setbacks that you went through. And, it was a similar situation that I went through, especially even, oh my gosh, I didn't want to get into the podcast, right? When I was running this podcast episode running the podcast show, like, it was, people don't actually know the story behind the Impact Podcast Show. The Impact Podcast Show was my own podcast show, right? It was just for me, and I actually branded it to be the Impact Podcast Show. The reason why I used the word impact is because that was one word that a lot of people would say. They'll just say, like I said to them, if there was one word that you can think of me, what would it be? And they're like, impact. And I was like, oh, okay. And it's like, oh, I kept saying it. And even like when I was playing footy, footy, like coaches would put me on the bench and they'll be like, oh, because you're going to be our impact player. I'm like, oh, okay. All right. So I get it. And so this word impact was in my mind the whole time. And then that's how it was created. But even that, I've had my flaws too. I've had my flaws. I've had my losses, and I've learned at the end of the day that it's a journey, right? It's a journey, and we need to be trusting in the process. But sis, I love the fact that you mentioned about, when it comes to your customers, that you need to test the water, right? You need to test your customers. And so I guess for you, what was the key for you now? So knowing that back then, the one thing that you kind of did that wasn't right was you just kind of went in, full throttle and said, yo, like we're just going to go in and we're just going to go hard. What's one thing that you're doing now that is completely different to what you're doing at the start?
A lot more of the testing the waters with our products. So, for example, we have a whole range of our candle collection. And so instead of going straight and changing the collection and be like, this is what's going to sell. So I've just been, so for example, we also go to marketplaces and things like that. And so that's helped us a lot, it's helped us in terms of, okay, what do people actually go to first? What do they really like? And I found that that's helped us. So we are more of the desserty candle collection. And, we're slowly learning to, I guess, change how we make our candles in terms of how the candle actually does look in general. So yeah, so that's kind of something that we've learnt, and and I've also learned to adjust to in having a business. So yeah, just adjusting, having those little bits of adjustment helps a long way.
Yeah, 100%. And just to touch base on what you said, like I love that you mentioned the word adjusting, because if anything, when you're running a business, or if you're running a personal brand, or if you're an entrepreneur on your own, like it's not a one size fits all. I think that's a myth. Like I think people look at it and be like, "Yo, this is the way to do." It's like, nah. I'll tell you this right now. Yeah. There's gonna be moments where you're gonna be changing, right? You might there might be a season where you want, like, for me, for example, like there was a season where I was. It was only for a month. Like I was trialing out PTing, like personal training. And then I was like, nah, that's crap. And then I was like, oh, like as in crap being like, I don't see any value in it. And it's like, all right, cool. Then I jumped into, content creating, and I was like, oh, I actually do like this, but I'm not getting any fulfillment. Like I'm not getting satisfied. And then it hit September last year. Then I found my calling, which is being a freedom coach. And it's just helping people find freedom. Pretty simple. And I get to do that each and every day, and like I get to wake up and do what I love, that's the focus, right? That's the goal. The whole goal is to do the things that you love each and every day. And so, yeah, just to touch base on what you're mentioning, like adjusting, like when it comes to any journey at all, like you need to get into the habit of readjusting or adjusting to even like the customers too. Would you say that there was moments where you had to kind of adjust to their liking as opposed to your liking when it comes to your business?
Yeah, 100%, man. Yeah, for sure. Like, I'm trying to think of an example. Like, so we've slowly learned to move into, the custom making candles, and that's something that I was like, oh man, I don't know if I can do this, but so we've we've tested. So I've made some products, and I've asked certain people, if they wanted, what did they like, and then we've given it to them, and then we've asked for their feedback and things like that. So yeah, that's something that I had to adjust to. Going into it, I had one mindset, one mind. I was like, this is what they would like. But over time, I've adjusted, and yeah, in business you have to adjust for sure. Like, on our Instagram page, there's a lot of myself on there speaking on the products that we have, the products that, and then I show, the ingredients that we have and things like that, before, I would never go on a live. I would never, I wouldn't show my face because, I'm so nervous. It's not something that I'm used to. But then, I knew in time that was something that, in order to get the custom or potential customers to trust that the product is, legit and the product is not, cheap, I had to, I knew that I had to find a way. And that's pretty much how I've done it. And also, I go on YouTube and I watch the other small businesses as well and see, oh man, what are they doing, And then I get motivation from them, and it also gives me ideas as well as to, how am I going to better my business? How am I going to show potential customers or people out there who may be interested, oh, you can trust the product that we have is legit. So yeah, that's pretty much it in regards to, I guess, what is it? What's that word? I
Yeah,
forgot.
yeah. No, I get you. Yeah. Like adjusting. Yeah, no, 100%. And I think one thing I've learned, like, because for me, I'm more into like the entrepreneurship side than business. Like, but the cool thing is that they're actually quite similar. Like, you're gonna go through similar flaws. Like, for example, like, the one thing that's similar is that we're working with customers, right? For you, it's customers. For us, or for me, it's clients. Like, I'm working with people. For you, you're still working with people, but it's kind of giving them what they want. And so it's cool. It's cool how we can, like, it's cool how we learn on the go. And this is the reason why I tell people, like, just start. Like, if you want to get into business, just start. Like, just do it. Like, just like what Nike will say, like Phil Knight, the creator of Nike, just like, just do it. Because I feel like we have so many doubt and so many fear and so many like uncertainty that we just say, no, it's okay. I'm just going to do it at all. But we already know, like, we both know that the gems, the success is on the other side of failure, right? The success of us growing and becoming better is on the other side of us failing. And so when it comes to you, I'm curious to know how you do it. How do you handle failure? Like, how do you handle failure when it comes to your business, or when things aren't going too well? Like what's kind of like your coping mechanism, right, to stay in line and make sure that you're sustaining a business?
So failure, I think it drives me. So when I feel like something's not working, it drives me. I'm like, man, I know it's worked for other people. It can work for me too. So it's just trying to find how, what's going to work, and what's not going to work, things like that. But yeah, I think, but I am human. So it does get to me too sometimes, like, so, I think having that open space in able to speak to someone about it, like for me, I'm fortunate. I have my husband. So, when things like that happen, I speak to him about it, and, vice versa. And then we're able to, like, be able to help each other out in that way and things like that. So yeah.
And you know what, it does make sense. When you're mentioning that you doing business with hubby, it draws you closer, because there is going to be moments where hubby's going to feel off. There's going to be moments where you're going to feel off, and just like marriage itself, it's like you're wanting to come back in alignment, like back together. Like, that's the whole purpose. It's like you guys, the two become one, right? And you guys are one together. So it's like, for example, like if you're feeling a bit of the heat, then guess what? He's going to feel the heat. And the only way he's going to feel the heat is by you guys talking. So it's amazing to see how, it's amazing to see how you guys can still connect. And I think for me, it's maturity, right? For me, it's maturity that keeps you going. Like, if you're able to have, maturity in your heart and in your mind when you're doing business together, then I do believe it's capable. But I feel like if you're immature in your heart or in your feelings or in your thoughts, then the business to me would only last for probably 3 or 5 years, like max. But for you, it's like, what's your goal? Like, what's the goal behind Flawnit? Like, where do you want to see Flawnit in the near future?
So, like, for our products, I think more so for the handmade products, we are looking for our products to be in stores, on a permanent thing. So yeah, that's pretty much where we're heading with our products, is try and get, different shops that enable us to get our products in there. And yeah, that's pretty much where we're heading our product to. So yeah.
Yeah, no, it's so good. And like, if anything, like that's the goal. Like, the goal is to get as much exposure, but also to actually get your product out there. And so, speaking about product, I want to talk a bit about your candles, because I know that you've been mentioning that you love your candles, and I know that you've been mentioning that that you've been creating these these melts and these candles on your own. And with hubby too. So, do you want to kind of share just a bit about that? Do you want to kind of share a bit about your heart behind, you making candles?
Okay. Yep. Sorry, I lost you in that a little bit.
Do you want me to repeat it? Yep.
No, so were you asking about the handmade products that we have?
Yeah. So I just wanted to ask a bit about, I guess, what's your heart behind creating it, like handmade?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I did a lot of research into it. Like as I said initially, um, you know, pretty much I wasn't going to go into the handmade side of things when it comes to business, but then over time, I wanted something. I guess I wanted to enjoy it, enjoy business, and I wanted to give out something that I made or something that meant something to me. So yeah, that's pretty much where I was like, okay, so went and did my research is into how to make candles, candle making and things like that, because I love candles. Growing up, we know that candles, it just helps with anxiety, it helps relax the mood and things like that. And the scent, oh, having that perfect scent is also nostalgic. It takes you back to certain memories that you want to go back to, I guess in your childhood and things like that. So I guess that's what drew me to candle making. So what I did was I went and I got the kit, the beginner's kit of how to make candles and things like that. And I did my research and as I was making it, as I said, when I was making it, it was just a tester. I wasn't initially thinking of, okay, I'm going to do it. No, I practiced and I was like, there's no big deal to it. So, yeah. So I guess, I enjoyed making it and I enjoyed, I guess, how relaxing it was making it as well. It freed my mind. And then at the end of it, you just, and you're like, oh man, I made that, and so, and just to make other people happy as well with the products that we were giving, it made me happy making it. And then just to see other people on the other side, with my end product and they were happy with it, I think that's, that just made me happy. And I was like, yeah, we're going to continue on doing this. So that's kind of like a gist of, how that works out.
Yeah. And yeah, just like hearing that about your candle making, like I love the fact that you were mentioning about people, like you're mentioning about your customers, because at the end of the day, like that's the whole purpose behind why we run the business. Like, there's some people out there, like they've got different notions on, sorry, not notions, intentions. Like they've got different intentions as to why they jump on and why they run business. Like some people focusing on money, some people focusing on fame, some people focusing on clout, whatever the case may be, right? But it sounds to me that I guess the one thing that keeps you satisfied is your customers. Like your customers saying, hey, like I loved your product. And to make it even more bittersweet, because let's be real here, there's probably been some moments like during your candle making journey where you didn't feel like making candles. There might have been a time where you might have been a bit off or you might have, stressed out. Like there may have been moments like that where you like where you got stuck. So it's cool to see and it's cool to hear your heart as to why you do it. But most importantly, it is a bittersweet moment when you hear the customers say, hey, it's exactly what I wanted, if not better. And so how do you work with it? How do you work with managing, I guess, the excitement of the after product, or I guess the aftermath of your work?
Yeah, I think it just makes everything, just that much better, you know. So as I said, initially I didn't want to make candles, but now that I've made candles and we're selling it, it's awesome. Like I love the feeling, and I focus a lot of my work on my candles and the melts that I make, in terms of the other products that we have in our business, and that's something that I need to learn, still to this day now, like. I need to also add in the other products, because I do love the other products. But I guess when you make these products and take your time into making them, it's I think it's a more intimate thing. You're like, oh yeah, no, this is awesome. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
Did that
100%.
answer?
And yes.
Yeah.
It did.
Okay.
But I do want to kind of, I got a question because like, I'm real
Yeah. Go ahead.
fascinated. I'm real fascinated by your candle loving, like in terms of candle making, like your love for candle making, and I've bought, I've bought different types of candles, like. Now this is where you can be. All right, I want to give you space, okay, sis. You can be right. You can take off your selfless hat and you can put your selfish hat on today, okay? Like it's okay. All right, you're not gonna get judged on. But I
Uh-huh.
really want to know, right? Let's say, for example, I've got a candle from Woolworths, right? Because that's what I do, right? Like I just get it from Woolies because that's where I shop. If I'm buying it from there, what's the difference between their candles and your candles?
I don't know the difference. Okay, I don't know the difference, but I can tell you what we have to offer. So pretty much, like what we have to offer is the products that we get is all premium made. So, for example, the fragrance that we use, the soy wax that we use, I posted on my social media, and also the places where you can also go purchase it as well. There's no secret to where I get it from, and things like that. And then how we make it is I even sometimes I even do lives with myself making the products. So I think it for myself, these are what I love. And then this is the product that I love, and it's not for everyone, and that's something that that I'm okay with, but it's for those who see the hard work that goes behind the candle, the after the end product, then that's something that's on them. If they're willing and they see the product that we make and it makes them happy, and I guess they I'm trying to build a foundation where they can trust that the product that they're having is actually premium made product, if that makes sense. But as I said, we're not for everyone. We're not for everyone. So, but for the certain people that do see the value that we put into it, those are the people that we're trying to. I guess those are the people who we're, selling to. So, yeah, that's what.
Yeah. No, 100%. And I love the fact because like it sounds to me that the one thing that you and potentially hubby, because you guys are doing business together, that you guys are all about is just being real. Being real and just being trustworthy, for your customers, because that's the one thing that I do believe, that if you can't get your customers to trust you, or if you can't get your clients to trust you, if you can't get anyone to trust you, like they're not going to buy into anything that you're going to do. Like that's what I've learned. Like I've seen that at some moments. It's like I started to learn that even on social media too, it's like sometimes people will question themselves, why isn't anyone following me? Like I've got so much to offer, like I've got so much content, I've got so much value, but it's like, why isn't people following me? And it's like, well, the question you want to ask yourself is, what is it that you got to give? Like, because realistically, if it's not trust, like being trustworthy or being, I guess, caring for your customers, then, or your clients, they're not going to follow you. And so is that something that you kind of learn or that you've experienced, being in the Flawnit business?
Yeah, for sure.
I've seen it like even in my own journey and even talking to other people, even on this podcast episode, that they're always like, man, why not getting as much followers? And it's like, well, it's either probably the time for you isn't like, it hasn't come yet, or maybe just the people that you're following, or no, the people that you're wanting to follow you don't really trust you. Because it's just like your product. And that's the thing I love about how you were mentioning that you were putting your candles out, right? You were, like it was handmade, and that brings authenticity, that brings transparency, that brings the realness behind the business. And so I do got a question about your candle, right? What would you say for you, right? And you can be biased, that's totally fine. But on the market right now, on like in your online shop, like what would you say is like the number one for you, like in terms of candle? Because you are the maker, right? You are the maker behind the candle. So for you personally, what candle for you, like on your market, is like the one that you would choose, the number one?
Oh, the number one. So I guess it's a good thing that my husband and I own the business. It's so he puts in the fragrances he likes. So he likes the more masculine. So we have the 1 million. We have the CK. We have those fragrances on there. You know, the cologne fragrances. So he has that on there. And we know that you know, there's an audience that, you know, likes that. You know, they're more, you know, the men, you know, they like those fragrances, you know, that smell. And women too. And then for myself, there's more of the sweet. I like the sweet scent. So I like more of the cinnamon, you know, I like more of the vanilla scent. So I make a lot of those in like, you know, mix the fragrances up. So, you know, being able to mix the fragrance up, it gives that more unique twist to it. And so, so I like more of the vanilla, the sweet scent. And, you know, as doing a dessert collection, you know, that's something that, you know, we know that a lot of people like as well. But yeah, I can't choose one.
Yeah. No,
I
I
like
get
them
you.
all.
I get you. No, I fully get you.
I like
For
them
me,
all.
I was just curious to know, like, I wonder what for her, like, is Elizabeth the type of person where she really goes hard on one product and then the rest are just like, you know, just based on the client's needs, or like, sorry, the customer's needs? Or is it the fact that she loves all of them and she kind of, you know, weighs them out all in the same? But even that, if you think about it, what's the point of selling something if you don't even, you know, well, number one, you don't know about it, and number two, you don't even like it. So it's like it's pretty common sense to know that, hey, pretty much all the stock that we put on is what I love. But it's great to hear that from you. It's great to hear that, like, to hear your heart behind, you know, candle making, but also why you love it. But I guess I do got a question too about candles. Like, it's cool because I'm just getting questions coming to my mind. Like, obviously, you know, candle is a fragrance. Like, you know, you're putting fragrance in the candle. Like, have you done any research as to, you know, why candles are so powerful? Like, as in terms of, like, you know, said, because like you did mention about you know, the scent behind candles. Like, have you done like I guess a bit of research behind that you can share to those out there that are in this podcast?
Yeah, so there are certain scents that for example, it's more of the lemongrass, the eucalyptus, the what is the so more of those kind of scents, the orange sherbet. So those are the kind of scents that I guess, you know, I did research on it, and it does show that it relaxes you. So yeah, just having you know, just having a smell of those scents, you know, it just relaxes your body. And you know, in terms of, you know, there are also massage candles. So those massage candles, you know, brings that, I guess, you know, when you're, you know, after a long day at work, right? And then you just want to come home and relax, you know, even having those nostalgic smells, you know, for example, like nostalgic smell, let's say growing up, you know, your parents will make some cookies, you know, and then just having that candle scent with that smell, you know, you come home and you're relaxing, turn on that candle, and then, you know, it just takes you back to those good old days, you know, and that automatically relaxes you, you know. So yeah, those are the kind of like I guess feelings that we're trying to implement into people, you know, that having a candle does relax you, and you know, it's a little bit,
No. This is actually so good because you know, as a freedom coach, you know, one of the things that I do is like I help people, you know, break free from their bad habits, and I learned this kind of like what's it called? It's like a model, and it's called the 2 C's and the 2 R's, which is your cues, cravings, your cues, your cravings, your response, and then your reward. And people don't realize that everything all starts with the trigger, where everything all starts with a cue. And people don't know that if you're wanting a long-term memory in anything, right? You need information, but you also need like emotion, right? If there's an emotion that's attached to the information, therefore it becomes a long-term memory. And if you think about it, like scents, right? Like a smell, all you need is a sense of smell to like, put into your body, or not put into your body, but allowed to, enter into your body in order for you to just instantly have that memory. And it's like, I started to realize that too with cologne. Like, I'll tell you this right now, sis, there are some colognes or like perfumes that I would not buy. Why? Because yes, they bring, memories, but the question is, are they good memories? Probably not. So it's like, like those are the ones that I'm not going to get. That's the type of, perfume. But I've also learned too that candles can do the same thing. Like candles can bring, it can be both a good thing or a bad thing. And so is that something that you can agree on too?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, for sure. So, I agree. Like, for example, I think that's why some, obviously some people wouldn't purchase our product, is because the scent to them does not resonate with their scent, So, and that's something that, we come to terms with, and, I respect that a lot. So it's just, I think something that resonates with me is the product that we sell is more so something that's makes us happy, makes and also we do get customers that ask us questions. They're like, oh, do you guys have this scent? Can you guys mix this scent up? And then we try it out, and we put it out there as well. And if the public, if they answer well to it, then we put it on our collection. But if we feel that, there's only a little bit minimum amount, then we won't put it on our collection, So it's kind of give and take. But yeah, for sure, I get what you mean.
Yeah, no, because I've learned that like any scent on your body, or like senses, like of the 5 senses, if you can utilize one of them, right, that can be a cue or a trigger, right, to a memory being created. So for example, as you're mentioning about the candles, it's like there might be a specific candle that we create for you that reminds you of a specific person. Let's say, for example, someone's overseas and you miss them, and it's like there's a specific scent or a specific, cologne that you have of them. And like, let's say, for example, you don't want to spray, it's like you don't want to spray it on you. It's like I don't want all of them, but at least their presence would be cool. And it's cool that you can use something like a candle, just to kind of bring that into life. Is just like, having that person. It's like as if they're there, but they're not there, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I get it 100%. Yeah.
Yeah. And like, I believe that's the amazing thing about candles. I'm learning a lot about candles today. And I know for sure that I'll be getting some too. But I guess, as we start to close, as we start to slowly wrap up this podcast, because like, we've already gone over an hour, and like, wow. I'm really enjoying this, sis. How you feeling?
I'm feeling good, man. Nah, this is like more of a conversation than anything else. But yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah. No, I'm actually really enjoying this. I'm learning a lot about candles. I'm learning a bit more about business too, and understanding that, like, hey, I'm not alone. I'm not the only one that goes through this. Some of the struggles that we've all gone through. But I do got a question, and it's about the candles. Like, I don't know, there's just so much significance behind candles. What's the one thing that you've learned about candles through your journey of creating candles that you would say other people need to know? Like, if there's people out there that are listening to this, like, what's kind of like one gem that you can share to them that you've learned through your candle making journey that you can kind of instill to them to understand that, hey, this is the reason why you should, be buying candles. And I'm not saying, forcing them to, I don't want you to force like them down your throat saying, hey, you need to buy my stuff. Like, that's not the goal. Like, the real goal is just for people to understand, or I guess be educated as to why they should, utilize candles.
Okay. So, I guess for myself, what made me, really like candles, and I know that my family members also love candles as well. Growing up, that's what they loved, and myself as well. So I think foremost, it brings a sense of relaxation, and I do, I do suffer a lot from anxiety. So, that does help, and saying that, like, I guess the work that I do, you hold a lot of responsibilities, and you have a lot of hats that you have to juggle around. So, I guess for myself, having a candle having a candle business is awesome because, you can just light up a candle and it does really help, and it's very, how do you say it? It subconsciously helps you to, to be relaxed, it doesn't force it on you. So for anyone out there who is going through, I guess, something similar to what I do go through, I do recommend, maybe having a candle that, that you like, the candle scent that you like, and just lighting it up in your house and just see if that helps relax you in some way or another. Yeah.
Yeah, because no, I totally agree with what you're saying, because I used to, I guess, I wouldn't say I was against it. I just didn't use it. But when I started to use it, I was like, oh, no, this makes sense. It does bring a bit of, relaxation, or I guess enlightenment. Like it gives you like a moment of, oh, okay, like it's not that bad. Like maybe I'm just stressing out. Maybe I just need to relax. And so, yeah, I can't wait, sis. I can't wait till after this, after this podcast, because like, yeah, we're going to have a chat, all right, on getting some candles out there, because I know it's been a while. We were meant to do this a couple months ago. But hey, this is what we do. Sometimes you got things that we got to do. But the good thing is about this podcast is that I know that other people are going to be impacted by what you share. And I think too, just on how important candles are, because now I understand why candles are important. It's like it can actually help you with your relaxation and anxiety.
Yeah, and also I want to add on, when you see a candle, it looks like you can just tip in the liquid, put in a stick, and then, you're good to go. Actually, there's so much work that goes into it. Like, there's so much testing and things like that we had to go to. Like, we've had to spend a lot of our own personal money in order to test the product out. So there's a lot of, there's a lot of effort that goes behind it. So, yeah, that's something that I learned when making candles. So, yeah, just want to put that out there.
Yeah. And you know what? There's only so much things that people can see. There's only so much that they're going to see. It's like, people are only going to see the fruit behind the tree. You know what I mean? By the end product. They're only going to see the end product, but they're not going to understand that, man. It took, weeks, months, like probably like, I don't know, for some people, decades, right? Just to get it right. But I guess this is the last question I want to ask you, and then we're going to start finishing off. Okay. Is why? Like, why do you do what you do, and what keeps you going? Like, what keeps you going with this business? What keeps you going with making candles? Like, why continue? Like, why not just choose to do something else? Like, why do you keep focusing on making candles?
I think it makes me happy, and it makes me happy. I love making it, learning how to make it, that was awesome. And it is stressful sometimes, but, at the end of the day, I enjoy making it. It's therapeutic and it's relaxing, So, yeah, that's why I continuously make it. And, just getting feedback from people who also enjoy the candles as well, pushes me to want to make it more. So,
yeah. Now, I just wanted to kind of hear where your heart's at, because, there is moments where we start to, like pressure starts to come into play. And so it's cool to know why you do what you do and why you keep going. And so, yes, we're getting like, real close to finishing up. I want to say once again, sis, thank you so much for jumping on. But the last question I have for you, and you already know the question I'm going to ask you, is, if there's anyone out there that's probably going through, they're probably wanting to do what you do. I know that there might be some people out there that are wanting a bit of encouragement. So is there any encouragement that you can share to those, out there that are maybe tuning in from your kind of following, or, your friends or family, but also to those out there that are, that are part of the Impact community?
So, I guess something that's helped me, and I hope that it can help someone out there, is like, man, if you have a dream, or if you have something that you want to fulfill, just my advice would be just to start, just to get started. It may not work out, it may be like a roller coaster, but getting started will help you, eventually. So yeah, that's like my advice to someone out there, if it's in business or if it's in life, just to get started and work on it every single day. And, eventually it will work in your favor. You just have to give it time and continuously work on it. So yeah, hopefully that helps someone out there.
Yeah, come on. I feel like someone's going to start something. And guys, we're not saying to start a fight, okay? That's what we're really saying, okay? We're talking about positive stuff, all right? I just want to put a quick disclaimer out there. But hey, thank you once again, sis, for jumping on. I appreciate you so much. And for those out there that are tuning in, like, make sure that you guys check out, Flawnit. All the links going to be down below, or for those out there that are tuning into, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, we will show you the directions very soon. But before we kind of finish up right now, if there's anyone out there that's wanting to connect with you, or buy some candles, or I guess buy any of your any products, what's the best way that they can contact you?
So we have a website. So it's www.flawnit.com, or you can also come on our social media page. So we have an Instagram, which is Flawn. And I'll be sure to get to you as soon as possible. Yeah, sweet.
So just for those out there that are tuning in to this podcast through our YouTube page, it'll be right down in the description down below, so make sure you guys check that out for the links. But if you're watching this, if you're listening to this through Spotify or Apple Podcasts, I'd highly encourage you guys to check go into our Instagram page. Elizabeth will be featured on there, and you'll be happily able to find it there. Or if not, you guys can check out our following section of our Instagram page, where you'll see Elizabeth there. But guys, that's it. That's all we got for this podcast episode. Once again, Elizabeth, thank you so much for jumping on.
Thanks, bro. Thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it.
All right, cool. But hey, that's it, guys. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for those out there that are tuning into this podcast, and we'll see you guys in the next episode.